So my other major passion outside of events and technology is airplanes. And that sounds like a totally unrelated thing. And I realize that must sound like it's out of left field, but it's interesting to look back and see how much my aviation experience has affected the way that I think and the way that I operate as a
Mhm.
performer, as a manager, as a leader, as an entrepreneur. And just the efficiency and the ability to prioritize, the ability to stay calm and focus on
Mhm.
whatever we need to solve to continue with our mission.
All right. Hey, what's up, Bobby? How you doing?
Real good. How are you?
Good. Good. Awesome. I'm happy we're able to make this happen. Thank you for joining us today. SongLab
Good
Live.
to be here.
Yeah, I did some research about you, and this what you're doing is really awesome. It's really amazing stuff here. I like to start with your origin story. Where you're from, and then get into what you got going on.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. I'm up here in Boston. And when I was growing up, I was really into music and performance and technology. And I got into the world of DJing because it was a really cool opportunity to
Yeah.
take music, put it together, make it into something new, and then create it as like an emotional experience for people. And it was just such a cool way to kind of get that artistic creative side going, but also
Yeah.
focused on like the technical production design side and just to do something that felt like it had a purpose that mattered to people, that helped give people some sort of an emotional impact.
Mhm.
Just felt like the perfect way to spend time and energy, and turned into a career and a company, and it's my life now. It's just an absolute blast. Um, so that got me into DJing. That was my first tiptoe into the events industry. What really made things take off though was when I basically noticed that the biggest DJ show that I was aware of uh, was a totally different world than the smallest real concert I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? It's like different equipment, and I didn't really get why that was. It was like, well, I was buying fuzzy speakers at Guitar Center and, I had 2, but if
Yeah.
I got 4, I could get a little louder, and that was cool. But
Mhm.
how come the real concert, even a small one, what are those speakers hanging up there? And who
Mhm.
makes those? And how do you power those? And how do you hang speakers from the ceiling? How does that even work? And so there was just this kind of gap where the biggest mobile DJ setup in the market I was familiar with was
Mhm.
this the opposite side of this huge gap of real production. And so what was my epiphany moment was, what if we could bridge that gap? What if I could make DJ shows bigger than concerts, and learn
Yeah.
all of those technologies and take everything that was musically great about an awesome DJ show in a basement, but
Mhm.
give it the power of all that real production to sound that good and scale that large and have that level of bass and rigging and special effects. Because
Yeah.
the scaling, was just a tech limitation, not a show limitation. Like, musically, I knew my frat party would
Mhm.
work for 200 people in a basement or 10,000 people in an arena if I could
Yeah.
figure out how to make it sound right. That's kind of what launched us onto the path of GBM6, which ended up being huge DJ shows, a lot of college concerts, and now we're doing shows with major artists too.
Yeah.
And it's been quite the journey.
That's incredible. It sounds like you put in a lot of hours there just to learn the technical stuff as well of the equipment and the audio process there.
Yeah, I've always been a technical nerd, so
Yeah.
I wanna know how things work, I wanna know how to make them better. I mean, even setting up for this, the first thing I said to you is, "Oh, looks like I got a reflection in my glasses, let's fix that," and that's a problem I've focused on before, and now I have these lenses that are a little better,
Hmm.
and that's the way I think for everything. So if it's like, "Oh, why
Yeah.
doesn't that sound quite right?" I'm gonna tear it apart and put it back together until I fix the issue, and by zooming in on each of those little technical bits,
Yeah.
it makes the product better in the end, and it's just who I am.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned GBM6.
Yep.
Can you tell me what that's about and just some core ingredients of making these events?
Yes. So GBM6 stands for Groove Boston Mission 6, and that's our events team. Our mission is to make people happy. That's our why. And our
Yeah.
how is by building legendary events, which leads to the what, which is lights and sound and staging and effects and music and graphics and all of that nitty gritty stuff. But we do primarily shows for colleges. So this time of year, we're getting ready for about 15 major concerts because all the colleges have their big spring shows coming up. We
Yeah.
started this past weekend, and we're going hard till the second week in May. Uh, and this is our happy place. So a lot of work, a lot of shows, and tens of thousands of people, and a lot of cool gadgets and technology. So this is our
Yeah.
fun time.
Love that. What I really love about that is that it sounds like you're centered on engagement and people having a good time. How did this fly? People having a good time, which is I think where things are going to these days. It's not about packing out a facility as much people as possible. It's about providing a comfortable experience for everybody to have a really good time. And I love that concept that you guys have on having fun. And music is no longer a spectator sport.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. That's incredible.
they
uh, pilot thinking is also a unique concept.
yes.
Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So my other major passion outside of events and technology is airplanes. And that sounds like a totally unrelated thing. And I realize that must sound like it's out of left field, but it's interesting to look back and see how much my aviation experience has affected the way that I think and the way that I operate as a
Mhm.
performer, as a manager, as a leader, as an entrepreneur. And just the efficiency and the ability to prioritize, the ability to stay calm and focus on
Mhm.
whatever we need to solve to continue with our mission. Uh, that's made me a better person, and it's been fascinating to see that applied learning. So anytime I get a day off and it's sunny and I've got a little money to burn, the first place I'm going is to rent an airplane and go get some interesting lunch and see the sky. And
So are you you're an aviator? You're actually piloting the plane and
yeah, I have
taking
my
off and
private
landing?
pilot's license, my commercial pilot's license, my instrument rating, which means I can fly in the clouds without seeing anything.
Yeah.
I'm a flight instructor and an advanced ground instructor, and that just came from leveling up constantly because I just wanted to get better at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause the interview right quick because this. So, being an aviator, what got your interest into that? Were you always interested in just being in the sky, or having access to be mobile when you wanted to go somewhere? Like, what got you into that?
It wasn't so much about the travel aspect, it was actually kind of the exact same thing as what got me into DJing. I wanted to know what all those buttons did, and I wanted to do something incredible with them. And that's what
Yeah.
airplanes are to me also. I said, "How does this work? How does this propeller work? How does this engine work? What does this switch do?" And
Mm,
once I put in the time and effort to learn the answers to those questions, being in the sky by myself is incredible. I'm very proud of that, and that
yeah.
that feels like doing something emotional with technical mastery, and I love to
Yeah.
to do it for myself, and I love to share it with people. But yeah, it's funny. It's just another cockpit, whether you're at a DJ
Yeah.
bow station or an airplane.
Yeah, incredible. And with pilot thinking, are you teaching people how to fly, or are you a contract flyer, or are you just recreational?
I'm fully licensed to fly for hire, but I
Mhm.
don't.
Okay.
So I'll casually, if a friend of a friend says, "Oh, my nephew's curious about flying, he would love to do it." I know how to teach the lessons, and I would love to do like a discovery flight.
Mhm.
And it's an interesting skill to learn how to teach. There's first people that understand how to do
Yeah.
something, which takes a lot of work and effort, but then to understand how to give that knowledge to somebody else effectively is a fascinating thing. The first written exam for your flight instructor license is not flying, it's about psychology. And so
Yeah.
I know that when I take off, I'm gonna need to use a lot more right rudder than I expected. So I
Mm,
know why that is, and I know how to anticipate that someone else is not gonna do it before they've had that lesson,
yeah,
teach them in a way that is effective you know,
yeah.
getting them to be a successful pilot, and that's made me a good communicator.
Mhm. That's fantastic, similarities. I know with big events, there's always something that happens, and you have to troubleshoot on the fly, and
Always.
you feel that pressure because everyone's there, and you gotta fix the audio or whatever's going on, and I imagine being in the plane, maybe the stakes are a little bit higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Literally higher, so you have to figure out, how to troubleshoot under that type of pressure. And that's an amazing, mentality and skill set there.
Yeah, it's interesting how my response to crisis has changed,
Mhm.
because as a pilot, you learn that every second counts, and if you make bad choices, it might kill people.
Yeah.
So you get into this very cold, calm, calculating. It's like, okay, time to
Mhm.
shine. Like we've practiced this. Let's survive.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in other situations. The other day, I was driving on the highway with my wife, and a truck like drifted over into our lane, and it was really intense. And
Mhm.
she was like, "Ah, oh my god." And I found in hindsight that I just kind of got really quiet and, like, got
Mhm.
really sharp, and
Yeah.
I didn't really react except the exact adjustment that needed to happen, and it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that in hindsight, and I think we can all learn from that. You know, we like to
Yeah.
make fun of how calm and bored pilots sound sometimes, but
Mhm.
just because 'cause they're super focused and they know how to make the right choices quickly.
For sure, for sure. Your work, has earned some international recognition. I see that you were named top 25 young event pros to watch.
Yep.
Uh, like that defining moment in your journey, how do you feel about that success, and what does that mean to you?
It's definitely validating, and it's nice to be recognized for this sort of effort. I've
Mhm.
found that within the special events industry, um, it's hard to know what everybody else is doing. It's hard to see the broad global context of who you are as a professional or as a company or as a performer. And one of the best things that I've learned through networking is becoming part of this community. So I've done a lot of
Yeah.
volunteer work for the International Live Events Association, which is ILEA.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing that gave me was meeting counterparts of myself in other states and other
Yeah.
countries. And what came from that is learning exactly what I'm really am good at, as opposed to the things that I say I'm good at, but I can see there's a lot of other people that are just as good, if not better. And
Yeah.
particularly with like DJ companies. You know, when I started, it was come check out GrooveBoston, the premier sound and lights and music for all occasions, creating memories. Like, and that
Mhm.
sounds nice and it may be true. But if I say I'm the premier DJ provider in the state, in the Northeast, in the country, how do I know
Yeah.
that's true?
Yeah.
And by meeting hundreds of other small DJ companies who had very similar taglines, I learned A, there's a lot of us, which is fine.
Mhm.
But B, I said, okay, that person's better at this part of it than I am. I can learn from that. But
Yes.
then the other thing that I learned was which parts am I really great at? What should I be investing in getting better at? So now I'm going to be the specialist because
Yeah.
ideally, when it comes down to business, um, I don't want to be interchangeable with anyone else.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just means the contracts I get are either the cheapest or somebody knew me, which is fine, but
Mhm.
ideally, I want people to hire me because my team is perfect for executing this event, for achieving that happiness for everybody, and there's
Mhm.
nobody else quite like us. That's the kind of growth that will be authentic and real, as opposed to if somebody
Mhm.
finds somebody that'll do the exact same thing cheaper next year, they
Yeah.
should, and they probably will, and
Yeah.
that's not easy to grow a business that way.
For sure. That's really great advice. I know for myself, finding the balance in delegation, when I do find there are clones of me or people that have similar skill sets, maybe they might have an edge on doing something better. So I can let them, I can either, they can join my team and I can use them as a resource, or contract them out for services so I can focus on truly, my initiatives. So, that's been a key thing for me this year is just I don't have to do everything. let me find out who really specializes in these things and they're great at them, and let's put them in position.
Totally. Yeah, you empower the specialists, and that's when magic happens. And I
Yeah.
think it's interesting how sometimes if somebody comes to me, I got an email yesterday and
Mhm,
somebody said, "Hey, can you MC 2 events? One's in Boston, one's in Austin. It's for a company from Singapore. They've got 4 grand. It's in June, 2 weeknights in June."
mhm,
And I checked my calendar. I was like, "I'm free those days." And if like
mm,
I could introduce people if it's pretty straightforward program, like
yeah,
$4,000 sounds nice, like, I'm not totally opposed, and I even had started writing that email that was like, "Listen, this isn't really my wheelhouse, but yeah, I could help you out with this, sure."
mhm,
Um, but I deleted it and I said, "You know, like, I wanna spend as much time as possible doing things that I'm great at, and I think
yeah,
there's people that are better than me at this. So, thank you, I appreciate this, but here's someone who I think will do it perfectly." Uh,
yeah,
and
for sure.
sometimes the no is more powerful than the yes, because
Mhm,
who knows? If I'd say that no 10 times, yeah, I'm down $40,000 of potential income that I lost out on, which doesn't feel great. But if that same person called me on the 11th time and said, "Hey, now I've got a show, there's a college out here that wants to do their 100-year party.
yeah,
They've got they've got a $500,000 that the president is putting towards this, and they want it to be insane." And then I'm gonna say, "This is exactly what we're great at. Thank you." And when I
for
say
sure.
yes now, they're gonna believe me, and they're never gonna question the value of that contract. Uh, and I think
Yeah.
the more we can get the right things matched up to the right people, the better the industry gets, and it's no longer a race to the bottom to get the cheapest alternative of interchangeable things.
Yeah, absolutely. The industry, the event industry is constantly evolving. What are some of the biggest shifts you've seen? And do you have some thoughts on where it's heading next?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest change is we're in such a digital world now. The
Yeah.
fact that you and I are having a comfortable meeting from across the country and we never met before 10 minutes ago is amazing, and that capability is powerful. Uh, the catch is real life integration or real life interaction rather
Mm-hmm.
isn't anyone's comfort zone anymore. We've
Yeah.
heard the term digital native, and that's about people who have always had, social media and smartphones, and they're totally comfortable with screens and video because they've always been part of their lives since day one. But
Mm-hmm.
the term digital native goes even farther than that. Being a native is not just about what you're comfortable with, it's about where you live. And
Yeah.
so the real world for most people born after, I don't know, 2000 or whatever it is, they live in the digital world. When they interact in physical space, that's them going out of their world temporarily, doing
Mhm.
something, getting some food, high-fiving someone,
Yeah.
going to a place, and then they retreat back to their safe space, which is digital, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So to motivate them to come out on those excursions, we need to make sure we're delivering value. We need to protect live events because they're sacred. They do matter. We're humans are social creatures, and we must find ways to interact meaningfully. And so I believe the
Yeah.
purpose, the cause is still valid,
Yeah.
but we do need to evolve events if we expect people to
Mhm.
come see them, because the reality is, I can listen to whatever music I want in my car, at my
Yeah.
desk, on my headphones, and it sounds unbelievable. Beautifully recorded, beautifully mastered tracks. They're customized for my playlist from the algorithm. It knows exactly what I want when. And
Mhm.
the same is true for movies. I can go down in my basement and watch glorious 4K movies, and it sounds great, it looks great. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable, I've got my dog, I've got my wife, I've got drinks and snacks, and I like that metaphor because, the movie theater used to be a really popular destination
Yeah.
30 years ago. It was like, "Oh, it's Friday night, of course I wanna go out to the movies and watch it on a big screen and buy a popcorn," and, like, it's a ghost town now. They've had to evolve
Yeah.
to stay relevant at all, and now that's why you see these leather reclining chairs and push a button to order appetizers and have a fancy drink, and they
Mhm.
needed to update the model to stay relevant because otherwise nobody's going to spend that kind of money to go watch a movie when we can watch movies every day for free. And for
Yeah.
concerts must evolve. Artists and performance must evolve like that too. We need to constantly be aware of the question, what are we giving to our audience that they don't already have for free? And if we
Mhm.
can't answer that question, we're not gonna exist in a year.
Yeah, for sure.
So important.
I think a key thing from that to me is like community. Like, the hierarchy of needs where, food, shelter, etc. We all need social interaction.
Yeah,
And you get that through community and having the opportunity through music or whatever community engagements are happening to find real connections. So I think the events are going in a direction where people who are even introverted or in a digital space, when they do go out of the house, they are looking for that likeness and people that are have similar interests
yeah,
and unique experiences. You can't get this experience anywhere else. You have to go to this place to go get that.
absolutely. And I
Um,
think the key there is audiences matter.
mhm.
So a performance can't be a one-way thing. It comes back to that statement, music is no longer a spectator sport. So if
Yeah.
if if I'm producing a concert and I'm just saying, "Hey, students, pay for this ticket and then stand in the gym, and
Mm,
then over there will be a stage and someone will sing for you." Like, they might be talented, it might sound amazing, but that's not a relevant alternative to the other listening methods they already have, unless there's some sort of interaction there, and unless there is that physical community, uh,
mhm.
and and that changes the way the performances go and the way that the events are designed. I mean, we're putting a lot more focus on the lighting in the crowd than the lighting on the artist now, and that's totally changed. The first
Yeah.
concert was in the 1950s, and of course, it was just, "I need a microphone so that this person can be heard over there, and I need
Mhm.
this person to be lit up enough so everyone knows where this sound is coming from." But
Yeah.
now it's the other way around. It's the lights and lasers are out here, and the live experience is not limited by a flat two-dimensional
Mhm.
rectangular screen like the rest of your life is. We're giving you more. We're showing you what depth looks like.
Yeah. It's
And I
our
love what you said about that community thing, because if you feel like you matter as an audience, that's much better than listening to it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. On the community aspect, I know you're involved with organizations like Search Foundation and International Live Events Association. Why is giving back to the community important to you?
Oh, great question. Uh, if our mission is to make people happy, and that's our genuine mission, that's what drives every business decision we make. Uh, if that's true and we really stand behind it, we got to pay attention to the people that need happiness the most, that are struggling with it the most. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily college students who want to have a fun concert on a Friday night. Some of the people within our industry are dealing with crazy scenarios where their warehouse burned down in a wildfire in LA and they
Yeah.
don't know how they can deliver their product to keep food on the table. And the Search Foundation was created to step up to support people in those kinds of situations. And I was
Yeah.
really drawn to that just because of that urgent demand for happiness. And if I'm a happiness oriented professional, that's where my focus is needed. So we work hard to get funds to people who need it immediately. That's
Yeah.
our claim to fame is within 72 hours they have a check if they're
That's
qualified.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really awesome. We're gonna before we close out here, for aspiring entrepreneurs, like myself, I like blending creativity and business. What piece of advice could you give, the audience, um, that are entrepreneurs looking to scale and grow in creativity and business?
Yeah, I think that the key thing, like we talked about, is be a virtuoso.
Mhm.
Figure out what you love to do, get really, really, really good at it in as focused and narrow a way as possible.
Mhm.
Learn what all the other specialists around your lane are. Make sure you know how to speak their language and then
Yeah.
figure out how to get paid to empower all of them to work with you to do something great.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Um, Before we head out, how can people get a hold of you? What are your social medias on the interwebs? How do people get engaged with you?
Sure, yeah. Check out bobbydutton.com is a nice little link tree with a bunch of link outs. You can find my LinkedIn profile there if you want to connect professionally. On Instagram, GrooveBoston is our events handle, and
Mm.
Pilot Thinking is my Think Like a Pilot handle. And the website is gbm6.com or thinklikeapilot.com.
Awesome. Okay, this is really the final question.
That's okay.
What what are your next projects coming up? What can people look forward to expect from you coming up next?
We have 14 major concerts in the next 5 weeks.
Wow.
So we're gonna be popping up all over the place. Our next one, we've got a team heading down to New Jersey right now. I'll be heading that way to meet them tomorrow. And then we've got a concert at Harvard with featuring Natasha Bedingfield this Sunday, a big outdoor show on the world famous Harvard Yard. And then next week, we've got a big dance competition in an arena for Boston College. It's called Showdown to raise money for worthy causes. And then we're down at UConn for another big concert in an arena down there. We've got some MIT stuff coming up. We're at Assumption College. Mostly all these big spring blowout events, and we're so pumped because it's been all spreadsheets and brainstorms so far, and now it's time to go out there and push some buttons, and that's what we're here for.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, Bobby. Really appreciate it. Everyone out there, all the links are in the description here, so make sure you go through all the links to check out what he has going on and all the work. I'm gonna go chase down this fly that's been attacking me this whole interview. It's first time this has happened, so we're gonna get him. But thank you guys for watching the show. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Calling all musical beings, all singers, musicians, rappers and tap dancers, calling poets, podcasters and people that make interesting mouth noises. Fans over followers, collaboration over competition, love over hate. Tell a friend, tell your mama and tell your cousins too. SongLab Live is back, baby.